This is the new Rebel X Sports bolt-on fairing for the KTM 790 and 890, and I think it looks fantastic. Now obviously there's a similarity between this and the fairing on the new KTM 890 Adventure. I think it really does clean up the lines. It fills in this gap here. It's a little bit reminiscent of the old 1190 and 1090. Now Rebel X, as I say, I've been working on this for a number of years now, and it's taken quite a lot of development, not only to get it fitting right, but also to make sure that it works well on the bike, and we'll find out about that later on. It's a really simple job to get this fitted, so let's get into the garage and I'll show you how that goes on, and then we'll talk about how it performs. So what do you get in the kit? Well, obviously you get the two side fairings, you get two front mount brackets, a bag of fixings, two stickers, and a very comprehensive instruction guide. Now it's a really simple job to do. It's just a few bolts, and you will retain most of the original fixings for this side panel, with the exception of a bracket that goes in here to help hold it in place. Rebel X do provide a very comprehensive and easy to follow instruction sheet, but there really is nothing to it. I did, however, have one slight problem I needed to take care of before I could do the install. And that problem was something of my own making, because I fitted some Denali spotlights. They were fitted on a mount that went onto the original bar here, which sat the lights out to one side. The problem with this is that that fouls with the new cover that goes over it. Now thankfully I was able to utilize this mounting point here, because that's where the original winglet would go, but you have to take this off to mount the fairings anyway. So it's one bolt under here, another on here, that winglet goes. What I did is utilize that mount itself to move the lights in. So they've moved inboard a little bit, but they do sit inside the new fairing, which is good. Now that should be fine, but the only issue being that the Denali S4s that I have fitted have to be mounted upside down, and the light pattern on these is set up for them to be up the other way around. So you've got a kind of wide fog on the bottom which spreads the light out across the road, and then you've got the spots at the top which shoot it further down. I've had to do that the other way around, so I've yet to find out what that's going to be like in practice. It may mean that I'm going to have to rig up a slightly different bracket to get them up the other way, or outside of that I can maybe mount them to the forks, but then when you're turning that creates a problem as well. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but let's get on with the actual mounting of the fairings. The other thing to note is that when you fit the fairing itself, there's one of these as standard on the bike that holds the fairing in. You have to take that off and reuse it on this mount down here. First job is to remove these two bolts that hold the fairing on, and these are Torx T30 head bolts. And then this one at the top of the original plastic fairing. Bollocks. Now it's time to assemble the bracket. Bolt with a washer on it through, then the spacer, and then from the original winglet mount you've got this captive nut that you've saved, and that goes on here. And there's a little bit of adjustment on here, so you've got movement back and forth. So that's what it's going to look like. The new bracket is then bolted back into the original fixings. You might just have a little bit of a wiggle to get them back into the captive nuts that are behind it. So now that this is in place, we're going to fit the fairing. The bolt that goes in here is the one that came out of here in the winglet. The one that was in there for the winglet goes back in, and obviously the one that we took out of here goes back in. You get those on loosely, get it positioned, then tighten everything up. You'll notice there were two big washers in the kit. They go at the front end, one inside and one outside. And that's the bolt I'm going to start with, because it's potentially the trickiest one to get in. Then we've got this one, which actually is lined up pretty well. And then the one at the back that I recovered from the floor. So with those three done loosely, I can now push it into place, make sure it's all lined up everywhere, and then tighten everything up, and that's it, job done. There you have it, nice quick job, 10 or 15 minutes and you've got these installed. The important thing now is to find out whether they do more than make the bike look better and see how they perform out on the road. Now, of course, not only does it look different from the front, from the rider's perspective, it looks strange as well because you've got this extra piece of plastic that runs up to the headlight. I like it, and the good thing is it doesn't seem to make any difference to the wind flow in terms of buffeting or noise on the helmet. And that was one thing that I was worried about, that this here would now catch more air in the front, ram that up through underneath, and it will come out behind or just in front of the handlebars and put more wind on your face. I'm pleased to say that it doesn't do that. One thing it does do is it definitely forces the air around you, and you get a little bit more of a pocket behind it, certainly in terms of your sort of lower body, that the wind doesn't get to. So it does work from that respect. I've not yet been able to try that in the rain. Hopefully, it looks like it might rain later on today or tomorrow, so if I can capture that, I will do, because that's what I really want to see, is if this gives me any more protection in the rain than not having it here. So it does look good. It also does have a good amount of functionality as well, so I think Rebel X have done a really good job with this. So although this is just a plastic fairing, it's very nicely finished. It's nice and thick, it's very strong. I don't get any movement on it at all. I don't notice anything when I'm riding, no vibrations, no noise, anything like that. Really nicely finished. You'd be hard pressed to say that this wasn't a factory piece. All of the mounts are well thought out, very well engineered. So I think Rebel X have done a very good job with this. I can't remember off the top of my head what the price is, so I'll put that on the screen here. I'm really happy with it on here. I don't suspect that these are particularly cheap to produce in this quality, but obviously there's quite a lot of research and development that's gone into it before that, and that's going to be reflected in the price. So I hope you found this short installation and review video useful. Obviously not very much I can say about this. It's a plastic fairing. If you are the owner of a pre-2023 model year 890 or 790, this might be something that you're interested in. I think it really does update the look of the bike. It's available in both white and black. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.